Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. If you've ever questioned how people make money on social media, and if you're wondering if you could do it too, our next guest is here to help. We welcome the host of the podcast, It's No Fluke, Jeff Barrett. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's the age-old question, right? People have been asking for 20 plus years now.
20 plus at this point. So how are creators monetizing their content these days?
I think the change and the shift is that you have clickable links like TikTok Shop. You have options that are going to become available for direct. But vastly, it's always been find your sphere of influence, find the attention that you're grabbing, and gravitate that toward a brand deal or something like that. I always make this app comparison toward musicians, that they don't make much off their actual content. They make it off touring. If you've ever paid for a concert ticket lately, you know this.
Yeah.
But same thing for streamers. So like Frankie LaPena comes to mind. There are a lot of good creators that talk about pay transparency. You're not making a lot off views. That's not where you're making money. It's really off brand deals. And there are good resources like Clara for creators and others that show pay transparency and give you an idea on how to, monetize best.
Okay, and what about algorithms? I mean, TikTok instantly comes to mind. How do they help or hurt people, kind of depending on the scenario?
Yeah, right, because it's opportunity for sure, but it's, double-edged, right? What's interesting about algorithmic social media platforms like TikTok, where they're serving you content, right? That's kind of how I clarify it, right? It's instead of building a following. When you were trying to build a following over time, that was more, piece by piece by piece. The cool thing about TikTok is that you only need one or two really good things to hit to get people's attention. The bad thing is that is going to constantly be shifting, and there will be other people that are coming in there to get attention. So what you have to be doing is thinking of ways, and the funny thing is if creators are creators, right? They're not CFOs, they're not accountants. So most of the time you're not thinking about where you're going to direct people or what kind of monetary vehicle you're trying to get people to. But it should be something to kind of consider before you do content, because you will have a short window of time to kind of capitalize on that.
Do you find that people really underestimate how much time and effort it really takes to build that following and make sure that you're with the algorithm at all times?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There is a lot of back end work that goes into trying to, it's all networking, right? I mean, it's not just the content that you are doing in front that people see, but it's all of the relationships that you're building on the back end with other creators, brands, any sources of amplification you can find to make sure that you kind of are constantly in that ecosystem. As a person who finally puts their phone away at night, that took a decade plus. It is not easy.
Yeah.
But there are ways to kind of do it in your own time and kind of disconnect. But that's the thing about the dopamine rush of social media and quick and easy stardom. I have lived it. Other people have, and it is tough to let go. But it is also it's exhilarating.
Okay, so what about other platforms that we might not think about, like LinkedIn? You can make money with content on LinkedIn now?
Snap is a good one too.
Okay.
Snapchat for a while there was giving out money to the top creators. I like to think of it this way. Right now, every single person will tell you, go be on TikTok, unless there's some kind of, foreseen, not unforeseen circumstance in which that is not available to the US public. What I look at is places like Snapchat that might have like slightly less of a user base over time, that they're doing things to try and bring people over. Everything is, cyclical. So if Twitter/X is becoming, more dormant or more isolated, people are gravitating toward LinkedIn. And some people might begrudge the idea that LinkedIn is becoming more of a social media platform rather than a business networking platform, but it's absolutely the case. It's kind of the counterintuitive approach of you don't always have to go where all of the attention is. You can be the person with the most attention where there's less attention, and that's just as valuable. And yes, there are people making millions on LinkedIn and Snapchat and probably Pinterest too. Yeah,
that's a great point. And just some old-fashioned work like building a newsletter and getting an email list going, I mean, that stuff still counts.
It is vitally important. It's funny thing, as a person who hosts a podcast, and I've gone through 3 waves of podcasts are cool to podcasts are not cool to yes, let's sell mattresses and Blue Apron. Shout out to them randomly. It just popped in my head. But yeah, podcast advertising is real, right? These things happen. The same thing with newsletters, right? People go, oh, no, I don't want to have a newsletter. Newsletters are all the rage again because it's, again, a way to direct people to some other place. It's a way to take that quick attention you're grabbing on TikTok. Like, if you just go from 0 to 1 million followers, you've got to have a place to keep people for the next 1, 5, 10 years. I've seen people, I kid you not, like 17 years into this that I've been doing this with, that continue to build off of their newsletter, and it's highly profitable.
Wow, that's super interesting. Hey, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. It was great chatting with you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for taking the time, and shout out to all my books that are propping up my computer so I could be at
Okay, awesome. Hey, we'll have more information about Jeff and his podcast, It's No Fluke, on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.